report session. It's going to cover reporting on pro bono information. So it assumes you have pro bono users in your system and that you assign them to cases and so forth, and so that you want to pull that information out. What we want to look at today are a couple of examples of the types of reports that you can pull out. So the first thing I want to do is give you your help references. So on our demo site that I've logged into, I'm going to open up the help page and in the browser tab. And I can scroll down and grab the help pages off of, directly off of this page, or I can use the link to go to the community site. That link is on the left-hand side, and the new interface that we're using today will be on the right side if you're using the legacy interface. If you haven't been to the community site before, you may notice that the home page is a list of the same topics that you see on the help page directly on your LegalServer site. And so I'm going to scroll down into the administration tools section. And we have several different report links here. The two that we're going to are your reference for today. The first is on the miscellaneous topics page. So I'll open that up in another browser tab. And on this page, if you look in the table of contents, you can see there's actually two links here. One is for pro bono users, and one is for pro bono assignments. And this is the two kind of splits of information that we're going to talk about today. Two different ways, two different places, I should say, to pull information about your pro bono users. There is also the example reports page. And the long list of reports on this page, if you scroll down, you can see there are several different pro bono reports that have been uploaded to this page. If you're not familiar with the example reports page, as it explains at the top of that page, these are copies of reports, the structure of reports that have been exported, and that's what the XML file links are. You can download those to your computer, and then you can import those reports into your site. They'll be added to the base reports on your site. So it's just a much easier way than for us to show all of the fields and columns that have been added to a report, the filters that have been added, and so forth, and for you to have to manually rebuild those. And there are several that may be of use to you, depending on how you need to report on your pro bono users. The miscellaneous topics page, let's go back to that real quickly. I forgot to point out that what this will tell you both about the pro bono users, the top-level system users table and reports, and on the assignments, it just delineates for you some of the different tables that you can use and what information those tables will pull out for you. So let's go back to the demo site, and let's first look at a report that's based on the top-level system users table. So if you were creating this report from scratch, and if you went to Actions, Add a New Report, on the first step, you would pick the system users table. And that's just going to give you access to different information than a report based off of the top-level case data table, which we'll talk about as the next examples of reports that we'll cover. So our example we have on our demo site is the Pro Bono Users Report training. And I'll first just run this report so you can get an idea of what it looks like on the front end, and then we'll go into edit mode and look at a couple of the other things on there. So I'll run this report so we can get some data. And you can see our default filters are we're only looking for current users, problem codes, just looking for 0-1 bankruptcy, and then pro bono yes, which is a special field that we can talk about. And you can see this just has various columns, the name, the office that the user is associated with, their organization name, if any, and then some summary information. So total donations. So if you record donations for in your LegalServer site, this would show the donations that have been recorded for any of these pro bono users. Total number of cases that they've ever been assigned to, total number of open cases that they're currently assigned to. So you may notice that number is lower than the total number of cases. And there's also a column for total number of closed cases. The last date closed of the last case that this particular pro bono user was assigned to, the legal problem code of that case, and then the final column we're showing over there is the generic subjects that each user can be linked to. So now I'll go into edit mode on this report. We can look at the table structure behind this particular report. So to look at the table structure, I'm going to click on the Add Fields link at the top of the report page. That'll open up a new browser window or tab, depending on your browser settings. And as you can see, as I mentioned, this report is based on the top-level system users table. So you have quite a few fields that you can pull off of the top-level table. So pro bono is indicating that this is a pro bono user, that they have the advocate user type. And, it's typically pro bono advocate. They can be named different things on different sites. The current is the field like for any user, so whether or not they're current in your system. And you can see there's quite a few other fields that are available to you there. The subtables are where you can pull out this summary type of information. So you can see we've added a subtable for connection to most recently closed case. And if I expand that subtable, then that has just a couple of fields on it. But it also has a subtable called latest closed case. And then you may notice once I expand that latest closed case subtable, that is giving you the list of fields that you would see normally on a case. So in other words, you're going to be able to pull out, I won't say all of the information about that latest closed case, but very close to all of any of the information you want on that case, like what the legal problem code of it is, the date it was closed. You can see, pull the total time for that case, pro bono time for that case, and so forth. We also have a subtable for current organization affiliation has been added. The donations total. Generic subjects has actually gotten on here a couple of times. And so I will just, while we're here, I will go ahead and get rid of the table that isn't pulling any fields. Don't need an extra. The person table has been pulled in. And so this is where you can come in and grab information about the person, like their name. So we're pulling both full name and also first and last name. Could also, from here, pull the person's gender, so forth. The problem codes field, we also have, that's been repeated twice. So get rid of the table that is not pulling any fields. And then some other tables that are pretty self-explanatory. User subjects, user total cases, user's office. Have another repeat here. And if you drop down the list of subtables under the top-level system users table, you can see that there's some other subtables under there. So if your organization uses clinic module and assigns pro bono users to clinics, you can see there's a clinic events subtable and some other information in there that you can grab. So that's a fairly straightforward report. So once you know that you need to use the top-level system users table, then you can go in and pull out whatever information is available for you there. Now, the other way that you might want to report on your pro bono users is their relationship to cases. So pulling case information that may or may not have pro bono users assigned to it. And for that, you would tend to use the top-level case data table. So it's going to be just like any other case-based report that you might use. Look at a couple of examples that we have on our demo site. These are also available on the example reports page. So the first one is pro bono cases assigned to a pro bono advocate. I'll run that just so we can take a look at the front end of this report. So you can see this is just filtering by default for open cases, and the is pro bono field that we'll talk about is just only pulling information on pro bono users into this report. So in other words, this is not case. This is only cases that have a pro bono user assigned to them. So if, for example, I came up here and took off the is pro bono filter. So before I click run, if you'll notice that we're currently, with the default filters, we had 24 results were being returned. So I'll take off that filter and click run report. You can see that we have 108 results, and many of those don't have a pro bono, current pro bono advocate. I'll edit this report so we can take a look at the table structure on it. So again, I'll click on Add Fields to open up the Add Fields window so we can see the table structure. This is based on the top-level case data table, just like any of your other case-based reports. And once I expand the subtables, you can see that the table this report is using is the current pro bono assignment table. Now, if I expand the subtables under that, you can see there is an assigned to table. And then if I expand the field section under that, you can see there's that pro bono field that we're pulling out that shows up as is pro bono on the front end of the report. And that's the filter that we're applying to. We only want to look at cases that have a current pro bono assignment to a pro bono person. You can see under the current pro bono assignment table, we have a few different tables here that we can add: assigned by, assigned to, funding code, office, satisfies outreach training credit. And then, as we saw, a few fields that we can pull off of this table. So, of course, the person's name, the start date of the assignment. This particular report, we're not pulling in the end date of the assignment, but obviously we could pull that in as well. And then a few other tables that are just standard case data report tables, pulling in the legal problem code, person tables on there, probably pulling in the client's name, and the primary assignment table, probably pulling in the office, current advocate, and so forth. Now, the other report that we like to cover in this session is pro bono cases assigned during a date range. So when we run this report, you can see the default filters. What it's returning is cases where there's an assignment type pro bono, and the start date of that assignment is during a date range. In this case, it's defaulting to the previous year. And if we look down through here, this is, since it's using the additional assignments subtable that we'll look at here in a second, this is not a report of cases. This is a report of assignments. And so you're going to get repeats. So if you look down through here, for example, I can see this 10-194 case has 2 pro bono assignments. So that's repeating. I can also see that we have a person that has been assigned to the same case twice. And you may notice that in addition to a start date, there's an end date here. And this particular report has end date as a filter. What that will allow you to do is, if you don't want to report on an assignment that has an end date on it. So, for example, your organization's policy may be that if a pro bono advocate, was assigned to a case, but for whatever reason, they did not finish the case, then it may be your policy to go in and put an end date on that assignment, and then for them to not get credit for it, or you don't want to report on it in certain situations. And so if that's what happens, in this instance, and that's relevant to your organization, what you could do is, with this report, is filter on end date, and then use the any date set option here. You could also filter on a range of dates, but for the purposes of this report, what you're probably trying to do is just saying exclude any pro bono user that was assigned to a case if that assignment has an end date. As you may know, by default, pro bono assignments are not automatically ended, for example, when a case is closed. So an end date is not assigned. So unless your organization manually goes in every time you close a case and puts an end date on the assignment, then it's not going to have an end date. So I'll click Run Report, and then as you might expect, you can see that I actually set the filter exactly the opposite that I meant to. Instead of any date set, I meant to select no date set. So if I select no date set as the filter, rerun the report, then that second assignment on the one case down here is going to drop off the report, because I'm saying I don't want to report on that assignment because it does have an end date on it. And the no date set is a nice option because you're not worried about getting a different range of dates. When somebody ended the assignment, what date did they put in? You're just saying if there's any date at all, no matter what it is, then you don't want that to come up in your report. So let's edit this report. Again, so we can look at the table structure. So we'll go into Add Fields. This report is just a little bit different than the one we just looked at. So instead of using the current pro bono assignment subtable, this one's using the additional assignments subtable. And as this subtable tells you, it's one row per assignment. So I warned you that you pull in information here, you can get multiple assignments per case. The additional assignments table will allow you to pull in all assignments, whether it's a primary assignment, pro bono, co-counsel, whatever types of assignments that you have on your site. So since we're just wanting this report to be limited to pro bono assignments, then in the subtable under additional assignments, we've added the assignment type lookup, and the assignment type field. And so that way we can filter, say, we only want to return pro bono assignments. And like the other report, this has the assigned to table on it. And so you can pull fields off the assigned to table. You also typically will pull in the person subtable. And this will let you pull in their full name. You can pull in other information off of the person subtable as well. But typically what you're interested in is the full name. And again, this report also just has some standard case data type subtables on it. So we're pulling in the disposition, close reason, legal problem code, and so forth. Now, the other consideration that we haven't talked about in terms of pro bono information, which you probably will know if you're reporting on the pro bono information in your organization, is to consider what your organization calls a pro bono case. And you have to put that in quotes, because that could mean that there is a pro bono attorney assigned to the case. That makes it a pro bono case. It could be that if the case is assigned to a particular office or a particular program, that's what makes it a pro bono case. And for some organizations, it could even be if the primary assignment on the case is a particular user, then that's what makes it a pro bono case to start with. So obviously, if those are your organization's policies, and that's how you classify your cases, then of course you would want to add the appropriate field and make sure that that's a filter on your case. So if it's not really a pro bono case, unless it's assigned to the pro bono office, then of course you would want to add the assigned office to your report and filter on that. So as you can see, there's quite a few to get at your pro bono users' information, both their system information, just about the person themselves, their user account, and then also in terms of their assignments to cases. And the miscellaneous topics report page is a good reference for the different tables that are available to you, what those tables do or don't do, and a couple of the key things that we've talked about here, like that is pro bono field, and also filtering on assignment type, if that's you only want pro bono assignments into a report and so forth. I don't think we have any questions posted. I don't think we have any hands raised, but let me double check. Make sure I haven't missed any. Yeah, so we don't have any questions posted or hands raised, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the session, and I hope people found it useful. Goodbye, everyone.